This is a production of the Gold Arrow Podcast Network. Hello, and welcome to the Gold Arrow Camp POG-Cast, a podcast for friends of Gold Arrow Camp. Throughout the year, we join you to bring your day some of what makes Gold Arrow special. Our goal is to help you have fun, make friends, and grow throughout the year, not just when you're at GAC. Since we can't get together in real life, we gather here around the virtual campfire. We have some of your favorite parts of morning assembly, like GACspirations and jokes of the day. We also have interviews with experienced campers and some of your favorite counselors. We think it's a lot of fun, and we're glad you joined us here on the GAC podcast. This is episode 55, where we have a returning guest on the POG. It's Lyric. Today, Lyric is back for his record-breaking third appearance on the Gold Arrow Camp POG-Cast. Lyric always answers the call when I ask people to come on the POG, and I really appreciate that. I think he loves camp at least as much as I do, if not a little bit more. He's always so eager to talk about it. I really love that attitude about camp. But this time, we didn't really talk about Lyric. We talked about what it's like to have your family be at camp. So many campers tell us that their camp friends are really like family. But Lyric's brothers and sisters are his actual family, and they've been coming to camp even while he's worked at camp. So that was a really fun dynamic to explore. It was also fun to chat about how camp empowers kids to be leaders. I think camp really does. It's one of camp's great things, is the idea that any kid can be a great leader, and to say to kids, you can lead people. Anyway, we chat a lot more about that in the interview. Here it is, my interview with Lyric. Oh, welcome back to the podcast. It's Lyric. What's up, Lyric?
Not much, Joy. How are you? Thank you for having me again.
Listen, I am outstanding. It's not a podcast season if Lyric's not on it. That's what I say. This is, the man is 3 for 4 now. But let's just pretend that somebody doesn't know who you are. They don't know what you're about. Can you kind of get us up to speed, who you are, what you study, what you're doing now, what you do for camp, all that stuff?
My name's Lyric. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm the oldest of 5 kids who all have attended Gold Arrow Camp. Right now I am attending Los Angeles Valley College and studying electronics. This past summer was my 11th summer at Gold Arrow Camp, and I was one of the Rocks and Ropes counselors, and I was a counselor for all different ages, bears, tigers, and lions.
So that's, kind of a lot of information for us to work through. So let's start with kind of that idea that it's your 11th summer last year. Your first summer, I think, was in 2008. That's what I saw. So that's a long time, right? So how has camp changed? I mean, you've been there for a lot of change. What changes have you seen since you've been working at camp? Or, since you've been going to camp, too, really.
Are you asking about myself or camp in general?
I mean, I think I'd be interested in kind of how camp has changed and how that's changed you, if that makes sense.
Well, I remember when I first went, there weren't any camp themes to begin with. And I think that started, a year or two after I even graduated as a camper. And I came back as a junior counselor after missing, I believe, it might have been the first year, and just getting this whole summer theme idea. And I had no idea what it was about, and, what got brought upon it. And it was really just, it's fun to see and just add to a part of camp. I think one thing about camp, about Gold Arrow that really sticks to me compared to other camps I've been to, just make friends, have fun, and grow. That really sticks to you, and it really is a part of camp, and it's one thing that for sure will happen. You will have fun. I made a ton of friends I never thought I would have. I mean, I know people from all the way to Russia and the UK.
Sure.
And just growing as a person, it's amazing how each year I really grow as a person, and even now when I'm an adult, I still continue to learn more about myself and learn more about people and just the skills that I never knew I had, and bring that back into my life once the camp season is over.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of the things that always amazes me is this idea, and it's true for staff and for campers, I think, that you learn skills you didn't even know you didn't have.
Definitely. And it is amazing to see some of these kids, how they come back with all this knowledge and all these skills back home, and they don't even realize themselves until they actually accomplish a goal, or I guess get to be a leader or the voice in a group, and they never knew that they had that within themselves. And it's I think that's one thing I do enjoy seeing campers do, learn more about themselves, and that they can do much more than they think they can.
Yeah, I think it's really awesome when a camper figures out they have a skill, especially when that skill is like leadership, because I think a lot of campers, because our oldest campers are 14, so a lot of them are never in a position where they're in formal leadership roles. They're going to school, and maybe they're on sports teams or whatever, but people aren't saying to them, hey, you're in charge. And I think they often think that's what leadership is. Somebody puts me in charge and I tell people what to do. And instead, we get to talk a lot with campers about like, hey, man, you're a leader. People follow what you do. And I think watching campers kind of, their shoulders roll back and they think about, okay, I can lead people. And that I'm always impressed by that. And I think every single camper can be a positive leader. Like, I think they all have that ability at camp.
Oh, definitely. And then, like I said before, it's amazing to see them become that leader that they thought they would never become.
I agree wholeheartedly. So you mentioned it. You're the oldest of 5. All of your siblings, along with you, have been to camp. And I think a couple of them have been at camp while you've been working. So what's it like to be a counselor at camp and your younger siblings are coming to camp?
I think as the years go on, just as a counselor, this past year and last year in 2018, it wasn't as weird. Not weird in a bad way. It's just I actually, in 2017, my first year, a month before I came, I actually had them call me my camp name so they can get used to it, and I can get used to it as well. And it's like funny now because I think that name Lyric just sticks with me. I see people whenever there's a like a party or the camp party, or if I see campers around, they say, "Oh, hey, Lyric," and I turn around to it. But it's fun. It's really fun to. I mean, I'm there all summer, and then session 4 arrives when they usually come. Yeah. And it's fun to finally see family for the first time in a little bit, and just seeing them just grow and become like voices in their cabins. My brother this past year, he was in cabin 32. I think that's the oldest one. I keep losing track. Now there's new cabins each year.
I know your brain wants to say 29. That's just, your brain is always 29.
I graduated at 29, but he graduated at 32. So watching him really, especially this year, seeing him be in that like older position role, and I have to give a lot of thanks to Vinci and Simba for pushing him to be the best that he can, and just in a like appropriate manner. Because I think a lot of these kids that they come and they're they don't really see that they're leaders in a sense, and like the oldest boys especially. And I know just for me, it's just really amazing to see my siblings do that.
Well, I imagine it's something like I get to see a little bit with my girls, right, who are much younger than your siblings, but they get to be in a cabin and I get to watch them from a distance and they don't know I'm watching. And I suspect you get a similar thing with your younger siblings where you can see them like at dinner or at a social or at the dance, and they are being themselves, and they don't know you're watching, and you get to see them interacting. And I always think that's such a cool thing to watch people from outside of camp inside camp.
No, definitely. And then it's funny because I think as they get older, I like to make sure they're doing okay.
Of course.
I mean, my brother graduated, and my sisters got their blankets, so they've been there definitely for a couple of years now, and
they know the routine
easily. But I still like to check on them, and then whenever I come up to them, I say, "You okay?" And then they said, "Yeah, why?" And I said, "I don't know, just trying to be a good big brother and check on you."
Right.
And I said, "I'm sorry. I guess I'll back off." And so I guess really, for me, I had to watch them from a distance now, but because I think they get a little bit. I bug them a little bit, but it's still from watching from a distance. I mean, I will do that and see how they're doing, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah,
Again, how
we don't get a lot of opportunities to see our family members when they're not with us. Like, there's not a good way to do that, and I think when you do, I really value that opportunity. So you mentioned that you were a Rocks and Ropes counselor last summer. What's your favorite part of working at Rocks and Ropes?
I think, well, what's different than other activities is that we're, doing the activities mostly off the ground.
Sure,
and climbing
absolutely.
up stuff. And a lot of people get nervous, not just campers, group counselors or other activities counselors.
Directors.
And, oh, definitely, just all over. I think it's really fun to help everyone in that range group just go up and conquer a challenge. I always tell people that, who get nervous that, we're human. We're not meant to be off the ground.
That's true.
We're not meant to, go on the high ropes course or climb a vertical plate pin.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I say that to a lot of kids just to, reassure them that, I get nervous too. And, it's a big step that they're taking just to even, climb up cargo nets or even put on the harness itself. And, I've seen a lot of kids get comforted by that. And that's really what I like to do. I like to make sure they're comfortable and just help them get to a certain goal. I think in the past 3 years, we had a couple instances where we just help a kid climb up the tube net just 5 feet and come back down. And then I always say, you reached your goal. You made it off the ground. You should be proud of that. And then I like to help them, do other stuff like help with the belay process, like where they help coil a rope for me while I let one of their co-campers down. And even if they don't complete the course, I still enjoy watching kids like be a part of the activity itself. And I think it's just fun helping kids across the high ropes course or just helping them go up a natural climb.
Sure.
And it's just really, I don't know, it's just worth it to me. It can be hard, but still at the same time, I think all that difficulty makes it worth it.
I would agree. I think it's one of the things that we don't talk a ton about is like overcoming fear. Because I think no matter what activity, you look at the wide gamut of activities we offer, and a lot of them offer some fear for some kid. Like kids that really love sailing might be afraid of heights. Likewise, kids who really love heights might not love being behind a boat. And so all of these activities offer this option to overcome a fear. And I think the other thing that's really cool is because we go to activities by cabin, all your cabin mates are there to help you with that. And so what happens is, like, if I really like sailing, I'm going to help you through sailing if you don't love sailing. And then when we go to high ropes and I'm maybe not so sure about getting up on the high ropes course and you love high ropes, you're going to encourage me to get up. And so this is where we talked about earlier, like all kids have an opportunity to lead their peers. And I think this is one of those really cool ways we get to do that and we get to see it. And as staff members, we really get to help facilitate that, which I think you hit on nicely. It's a really cool opportunity.
I think something that us Rocks and Ropes staff, we get to experience is that we get to lead one of the first activities that cabins will do, which is team building.
For sure.
And I think that's really important because I think that comes in a lot of building a lot of trust within your cabin mates.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think that really goes beyond this next 13 days of camp.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoy doing team building and watching those kids grow with one another and being able to, I think that's why they're able to go with each other if they do like high ropes or any other activities, they're able to help each other because they trust one another.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that goes a long way with it.
It does. It's very intentional that we put team building at the front. And I think it's really cool that you guys get to do that. So 11 years down, you came to us as like a boy and now you're a full-fledged man. You're a staff member. Like, what's the lasting impact of camp on your life, do you think?
Just not me specifically, but just how it's really helped me and my siblings all together. We bond over camp. We've gotten more extroverted. I know it sounds ridiculous, but all of us were very introverted when we were younger. I hope he doesn't allow me, or he allows me to use his name, but like for Slim, for instance, he was my brother's group counselor, Gabriel. Yeah. I forgot which year, but one year my brother came back all loud and excited and talkative, and that's really never happened since. And I remember asking him one year, like, what happened? And he said, "Oh, like Slim just kept encouraging me to use my voice and just allow me to be myself." And I think that's one reason too. I wanted to work at camp just to be able to help those kids do it, and that's why I love that guy. He's really made a personal impact for me personally and helping me, help my brother and stand out and be himself.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of kids come back different when they come back from camp. They're more, they don't realize the voice that they have, and they finally bring it back when they get home. And I met a lot of parents at camp parties, or maybe I go to the Manhattan Beach Run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they say thank you, because they say I don't recognize my child anymore.
Right.
And I think being a part of that change, seeing them do it firsthand prospectively, is just really cool to see. Oh. So I think just being able to, that's the impact that's really made for me and my siblings, how it's really helped us have our voices in the world.
That's a really, really awesome answer. All right, Lyric, it's time for the speed round. 5 questions we ask absolutely everybody who comes to the podcast. Here they are. Lyric, what's your favorite camp song?
Wisconsin Milk.
I love it. I'm right there with you. Favorite item on the salad bar?
I say this every year. It's the noodle.
Oh, yeah, the chow mein noodles. Yep.
Chow mein noodles. Right. Use it every time in a salad.
Absolutely. Favorite lip balm flavor?
Oh, it was new this year. Forgive me. I think it was Niski Grape.
Niski Grape, absolutely. Great name and a great flavor. Loved it all the time. Around the campfire at night, mallows or popcorn?
Popcorn.
Yeah, good choice. And finally, Lyric, what's your real name?
Okay,
and there we are. We're all out of time. I keep saying we have to have you back on the podcast. Next time you're on, I'm going to ask you your real name first, and then we can do it. Lyric, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you again for having me. So I appreciate it.
In a world with far too much seriousness, far too much drama, we bring you something different. The joke of the cast.
Why is it called joke of the day if it's not funny?
You know, guys, I really don't care for elevators or escalators. They freak me out. So do you know what I do when I'm in places like buildings with elevators and escalators? I take the necessary steps to avoid them. I don't know if you guys know this, but we like to end every episode with a little GACspiration, kind of words of wisdom to live by. And this week's GACspiration is an anonymous one, but it really fits here in the new year. When you're out there in the world, throw kindness around like confetti. Those are words to live by, I think. Other words that we can always live by are thank you. And so thank you for listening to the podcast. Really appreciate that. Thank you to Lyric for coming on the show yet again. Always a pleasure to have you on. Such good insights about camp. I'm Soy, and as always, I'll save a marshmallow for you.